Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Churchill Downs here on Friday. It is May the 3rd, 2019. It's Kentucky Oaks Day from Churchill, and I'm going to look at all the stakes races on the program, including the Kentucky Oaks. But before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at Horse Racing Kid 5 for more selections for race courses around the world. And also, very soon it will be uploaded my Kentucky Derby preview video. Go check that out when it's uploaded. Also, check out my 2000 and 1000 Guineas preview video from Newmarket. But today's card from Churchill looks very nice. Let's get to the weather very quickly. We're going to see a little bit of showers earlier in the day, in the morning basically, but I did handicap these races for a little bit of moisture in the ground. Just keep in mind that Churchill does drain, the track drains very quickly, so it's not going to be as bad as it's going to be tomorrow. When you're looking at the weather reports for Saturday, it might be bucketfuls of rain, but that's tomorrow. But let's make some money with this card from Churchill. So like I said, we're going to look at all the stakes races, races 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, and the featured 11th race, which is the $1.25 million Grade 1 Kentucky Oaks. But let's get to it. We're going to start off with race number 5 from Churchill, which is the 8 Bell Stakes. It's a Grade 2 event going for a purse of $250,000. Race for 3-year-old fillies. Field of 9 horses heading to post. A distance of ground of 1,400 meters, or the distance of ground of 7 furlongs on the main track. 1,400, 7 furlongs. And I show the diagram. It gives me that little extra second to look down at my notes. Just bear with me. My top selection here in the 8 Bells, I'm going to go with the number 9 horse. If we could ever get my iPad to load, it never wants to load during these big videos. But my top selection, I'm going to go to the 9 horse Mother. I'm going to go 9375 in the superfecta. 9375 super. Top selection, 9 horse Mother. The 3-year-old filly by Pioneer of the Nile. Bob Badford trains. Florent Giroux gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came the 7th of April at Tequila, about 7 furlongs in the Grade 3 Beaumont. The horse I thought ran a massive second place, finished by head. She sat back early in a small field. She had a decent turn of foot. She just missed at the end, but she ran well there first off the break. Before that, Santa Anita on a good main track, 1 mile in Las Virginias. She finished 4th by 4 lengths. Bellafina had her own way on the front and went very easily. This horse was just wide and just wasn't her day to win. And then the 7 furlong Santa Ynez at Santa Anita earlier in January. She finished 2nd by 8.5 lengths, again behind Bellafina. She just couldn't get into it. And then the Hollywood Starlet at Los Al, mile 16th, December the 8th. She finished 3rd by a neck. She just didn't stay that distance. She just couldn't get into it at the end. I think the 1 turn 7 furlong should be to her liking, and she should do well here at Churchill, because she did in the fall in the Rags to Riches going a mile, which she won by 1 3/4 lengths on the front and all throughout. She just took off clear. Like I said, she's not facing Bellafina today, which I think is a good thing, and like I said, she's been training well. She likes this course. At 3-1, she's a horse you could definitely win here. And another horse I would use on the multi-race would be the 3 horse Queen of Bees. This 3-year-old filly by Flatter, Jorge Abreu trains. Jose Ortiz gets the leg up. The horse hasn't been seen since the 31st of January at Gulfstream, 1 mile and off 75 claimer, where the horse won by 2 3/4. He sat back early, got a good turn of foot, a little bit wide, but he still took off clear. A very good race for this horse. Before the main special weight Gulfstream, 7 furlongs, January 6th, the horse won by 1 3/4. Again, stalked early on. Got the lead. She didn't take off like she did in the next start, but she still got the victory there, even though she got it a higher buyer. Don't get that. And then before that, Gulfstream 6 furlong main special weight 4,000, finished 2nd by half length. There she had a very troubled trip, which cost her. But she's stepping to stakes company for the first time. Like I said, I think she's good enough to win here. At 4-1, I'll use her on the multis. But to recap my selections now for the 5th from Churchill, it's the Grade 2 8 Bell Stakes. As top selection, I'll take the 9 horse Mother. I'll go 9-3-7-5 in the superfecta, 9-3 in the multis. So now let's get to race number 6 from Churchill. Race number 6 from Churchill. It is the Edgewood Stakes, presented by Forked Bank. Hopefully I said that right. It's a Grade 3 event going for a purse of $250,000. Race for 3-year-old fillies here. Field of 7 horses are going to the lawn. The distance of ground of 1,700 meters, or the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16th on the Churchill turf course. 1,700 meters, mile 16th. And like I said earlier, I show the diagram. It just gives me that little extra second to look down my notes. Just bear with me. Sorry, I'm stupid. I can't do 2 things at the same time. Plus, I get very stressed out doing these videos. If you can't tell. Just calm down, I know. But my top selection here in the Edgewood, I think one of the most, one of the best, I think, horses I've been looking forward to this year is running in this race. That's going to be the one horse newspaper record. I think she's the most exciting, and I think she has a great career ahead of her. So I'm going to use as a top selection one horse newspaper record. I'm going to go 1-5-2-3 in the superfecta. 1-5-2-3 super. My top selection is the one horse newspaper record. The Surreal Filly by Luke de Vega. Chad Brown trains. Ira Ortiz Jr. picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies Turf here at Churchill. 1 mile of very soft ground on November the 2nd. She won by 6 3/4. She sat on the front all throughout, and she just took off clear at the end. It doesn't get any easier than that. 96 buyer. It was a very good run. Before that, at Belmont on the inner turf course, a yielding inner turf course in the Grade 2 Miss Grillo. She won by 6.5 lengths, and again on lead all throughout. She just took off clear again. A very good run. And then at Saratoga, again on yielding turf course, mile 16th inner turf course, main special weight 5,000. She won by 6 3/4. That day she let a horse go in front of her. She stalked early on, then she got the lead, and then she just won for fun. A very easy race. Her lowest margin of victory was 6.5 lengths. So that says something. She's run some great buyers. She's been training well. She can handle a wet ground, which makes me wonder how she'll run when she gets firm ground. But she's just a good horse, and I think she'll run well. So at 3-5, I'll take her. If there is a horse that could beat her today, and I think the 5-horse Concrete Rose get a piece of it if there's going to be a pace meltdown. She ran some decent efforts in the past, most recently in the Florida Oaks, where she won by half length, closing off well. She ran an 8th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Fillies last year, Turf Juvenile Fillies, where she didn't have the best of trips on wet ground, but she won the Jessamine very nicely, and she broke her maiden at Saratoga very nicely. If there's going to be a closer, I think she'd get a piece of it at 8-1, so maybe I'll use her in the multis. But like I said, newspaper record, she's a freakish horse. They were thinking about sending her possibly to Royal Ascot after this. We'll have to wait and see. I would rather see her run in that turf Trinity race here at Naira, at Belmont, Saratoga. The Saratoga Oaks, the Belmont Oaks. All those big races this summer for the $1 million purse, because that's on our doorstep. Why go to Ascot for $350,000 when you can run for $1 million every race? But we'll have to wait and see. Like I said, I think here at 3-5, she should run a big race, so I'll take her. So to recap my selection for the 6 from Churchill, it is the Grade 3 Edgewood. I'm going to go with the one horse newspaper record. I'll go 1-5-2-3 in the superfecta. So now let's get to race number 7. The 7th race from Churchill, it's named after the 87 Derby winner. It is the Sheba Stakes. It's a Grade 2 event going for a purse of $400,000, races for 4-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 11 horses heading to post, a distance of ground here of 1,700 meters, with the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the main track. 1,700 meters, 1 mile 1/16. Top selection in the Sheba. I'm going to get a little bit crazy here. I'm going to go to a bit of a long shot, the 11-horse Copper Bullet. I'm going to go 11-1-6-8 in the superfecta. 11-1-6-8 super. In the multi-race, I would go 11-1. But the top selection is the 11-horse Copper Bullet. This 4-year-old colt by More Than Ready. Steve Asmussen trains. Ricardo Santana Jr. gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came the 23rd of March at the Fairgrounds, mile 8th in the Grade 2 New Orleans handicap. He finished 5th by 5 3/4 lengths. He's just at mid-pack most of the race and didn't have the best turn of foots. Maybe he was tired. He should have did a lot better as the favorite. The winner, Core Beliefs for Peter Urton from California, had a great turn of foot that day and won very nicely. But this horse, he just threw in a clunker. Horses do that sometimes. I think the cut back to a 16th mile last back to Churchill. He's been training well since the New Orleans handicap. I just think he'll run a lot better. Before that, he ran in the Razorback Handicap at Oaklawn on mile 16th, February the 18th. He finished second by a neck. That day he stalked early on. He ran a good effort behind Cold Front, but, he just couldn't get in front of him at the end, but he still ran well. Keep in mind, Cold Front won next start out in the Godolphin Mile I almost said Nat Sheba, but it's Maidan. But he ran a massive effort there, also. And then the Grade 1 Malibu at Santa Anita, 7 furlongs on Boxing Day. The horse finished 11th by 8 lengths. That day he didn't have have the best of trips, and I don't think 7 furlongs is to his liking. I think he's a 2-turn mile or mile 16th horse, not a 1-turn horse. And then he won an allowance race here at Churchill, 7 furlongs, November the 23rd by 3.5 lengths. He sat towards the front of most of the race, and he just took off clear at the end. First started off a pretty long break of almost 14 months. Before that, he ran the 13th of August 2017 at Saratoga, 6.5 in the Saratoga Special, which he won by 4 lengths. He stalked early on, he got the lead, and then he took off clear. He's 3 for 2 here at Churchill. Broke his main here as a 2-year-old, and then his only loss here came in the Bashford Manor of 2017, where he finished second. Just couldn't get to 10 City, and he had a little bit of trouble trip that day, but he still ran decently. He likes Churchill. I throw out the New Orleans handicap race. I think sitting closer here today, he could run a big one back to the home pace. So at 15 to 1, I'll use him. I'll definitely use the 1 horse Mackenzie. I always thought of him not being a mile and a quarter horse, but he'll most definitely get a mile 16th, mile and 8th, which you're going to see today. But this 4-year-old go by Street Sense. Bob Baffert trains. Mike Smith gets the leg up. The horse's most recent out, it came a month ago in the Santa Anita handicap, Santa Anita, a mile and a quarter. He finished second by a nose behind Gift Box, who just fought back on the inside. This horse was a little bit wide. He just did not stay the distance. It wasn't his day to win, but he ran a decent effort. Before then, the Grade 2 San Pasquale at Santa Anita on the slot mile, February the 2nd. He finished second by half length behind Battle of Midway. May he rest in peace. This horse, again, he just couldn't get to it at the end. He just kind of hung a little bit. And then the Grade 1 Malibu at Santa Anita, 7 furlongs, December the 26th. The horse won by 4 3/4. Sat back early, had a great turn of foot, and he won for fun. A very good run, 103 buyer for this horse. He was on the Derby trail last year, but he got injured right before the Santa Anita Derby. They had to take him off. First off the break, then he ran a career best buyer in the Pennsylvania Derby at Parks Racing at Philadelphia Park, going a mile and 8th. He won the PA Derby by 1 3/4, 107 buyer. Stalked, got the lead, and then he took off. A very good run. His most recent outing here, and only outing in Churchill, came in the Classic a few months ago, and he ran an absolute crap race. Finished 12th by 31 lengths. He just stalked and had nothing. Wasn't his day to win. But like I said, I don't think he's a mile and a quarter horse. I think he's going to like the mile 16th trip. He's been trading very fast over this course at Churchill, and I think he'll run well. So at 8 to 5, I'll use him. But it's not the best price in the world. We have to be honest. But to recap my selection for the 7th from Churchill, it's the Sheba Stakes. I'll take the 11 horse Copper Bullet as a top selection, and I'll go 11-1-6-8 in the superfecta, 11-1 in the multi-race. So now let's get on to race number 8. Race number 8 from Churchill. It is the La Trione Stakes. It's presented by Inside Access from Chase. It's a Grade 1 event going for a purse of $500,000. Race for fillies, mares, 4-year-olds, and upwards. We have a field of 10 horses heading to post. The distance of ground of 1,700 meters, with the distance of ground of 1 mile and 1/16 on the main track. 1,700 meters, 1 mile and 1/16 main track. Top selection here in the La Trione. I'm going to go to the number 2 horse, Blue Prize. I'll go 2-1-7-3 in the superfecta, 2-1-7-3 super. Top selection 2 horse, Blue Prize, a 6-year-old mare by Pure Prize. Ignacio Correas trains. Joe Bravo, Jersey Joe Bravo, picks up the mounts. The horse's most recent outing came the 3rd of November here at Churchill, mile and 8th in the Breeders' Cup Distaff. The horse finished 4th by 1.5 lengths. From a wide posture, didn't break all that well. Had a stalking position, but never really got into it at the end. My Girl just ran a hell of a race on the front end and went away easily. She ended off her season the way she began and winning very easily. But this horse, she ran okay. Wasn't the best, but wasn't the worst race. Before that, though, in the Spinster at Keeneland, mile 8th, October the 7th, she won by 3/4 length. She sat back early after not the best beginnings again, but she had a great turn of foot, and she held on to a very nice victory. If you just watched the replay, the head-on of the start, and just watch that, and I would have said to you she would have won, you would have thought, nah, you're kidding. But she still, she gained a lot of ground that day. It was a very good run. And then lost Lotus Grove Stakes at Churchill, mile 16th, September the 15th. The horse won by a nose. She stalked early on, sitting closer than she normally does. She got the lead, and she held on. A very good run off the break. And then the Florida Liz at Churchill, mile 8th, June the 16th. She won by 1.5. And again, she stalked, she got the lead, and then she took off clear. She's versatile. She could set the pace if she wanted, like she did back in September here at Churchill, or she could come from behind, like she did in the Florida Liz on Stephen Foster night. So she's a versatile horse. She can handle a wet going. She's a good poacher. She likes Churchill. I think think at 3-1 she'd get a piece of it, so I'll use her here. Along with the one horse, she's a Julie. This 4-year-old filly by Elusive Quality. Steve Asmussen trains Ricardo Santana Jr., who's having a breakout season, gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing, she hasn't started since the 18th of February. That came at Oaklawn, mile 16th in the Grade 3 Bayakoa handicap, and she won by 2 3/4 lengths there. She sat on the front end almost all throughout, and she just went away with a very easy run. Before then, the Zia Park Oaks at Zia, mile 16th to 20th 1st of November, she finished 4th by 4 3/4 lengths there. She stalked, she had the lead that day, but then she just never ran. The closers got to her. It was a very weird run. She should have did a lot better than she did that day, especially at 30 cents to the dollar. And then the Remington Park Oaks at Remington, mile 16th, 30th of September, she won by 1.5. She stalked early on, she got the lead, and then she held on to a very good victory. And then she ran, I thought, a decent second place finish in the Alabama at Saratoga behind Eskimo Kisses. A little bit wide, but she still ran well. She should like the mile 16th trip. She likes Churchill. Biggest question with her is going to be the wet going. She started once in a wet going, but that was as a 2-year-old going 6 furlongs. I think the mile 16th is more to her liking, but like I said, but that's still a big question. But at 7-2, I'll take her and use her in the multis because she does definitely have a chance to win. But to recount my selection for the 8th from Churchill, it's the Grade 1, $500,000 Latch-Your-Own Stakes. I'll take the 2-horse Blue Prize as his top selection. I'll go 2-1-7-3 in the superfecta. I'll go 2-1 in the multi-race. So now let's get to race number 10. Race number 10 from Churchill. It is the Twin Spires Turf Sprint presented by Mass Mutual. It's a Grade 2 event going for a purse of $250,000, race for 3-year-olds and upwards. We have a field of 9 horses going to the lawn. The distance of ground here of 1,100 meters, or the distance of ground of 5 1/2 furlongs on the Churchill turf course. 1,100 meters, 5 1/2 furlongs turf course. And like I said earlier, they're expecting some rain in the Louisville area Friday morning and possibly the afternoon, so the course is going to have a little bit of moisture into it. But keep in mind, Thursday, the course was rated firm, and I think that was being very nice. I think probably because there was a lot of kickback on the turf course, and I think it was more rated towards good, and that's still being very generous. So it was good to soft, I want to say, on Thursday. So just keep in mind, you're going to get a little bit of a wet course here, but this turf course, along with the main track, does drain quite quickly. But one thing to keep in mind about this race, last few seasons, or for the last probably 15 years since they've run this race, or almost 20 years now, it was always run at 5 furlongs, but with Churchill extending the backstretch to allow a gate to come in at the 5 1/2 furlong pole, they made this race 5 1/2 furlongs now, which I think is a great idea. That extra half furlong, you'll see a lot of horses make that last minute move, and I think it's a good distance for turf sprints. 5 furlongs, this is probably going to be one of the most exciting races of the weekend. Along with the Derby, but there's always these turf sprints. They're always just very close finishes. With that being said, my top selection here, I'm going to go with the 5-horse Chaos Theory. I'm going to go 5-6-1-9 in the superfecta, 5-6-1-9 super. To the multi-race, I would go 5-6. I'm going to use two horses deep here, but the top selection, the 5-horse Chaos Theory. This 4-year-old filly by Curlin, who's best to be remembered by winning the 2007 British Cup Classic at Monmouth on the mud, or the slop, and also winning the 2007 Preakness at Pimlico. But don't think of him when I think of turf sprinters, but this horse does like the turf sprints. But Brendan Walsh trains. Javier Castellano picks up the mount. The horse's most recent outing came the 6th of April at Keeneland, 5 1/2 furlongs in the Grade 2 Shakertown, and the horse finished 4th by 2 1/4 lengths. You don't want to be wide going at turf sprint at Keeneland, and this horse broke from 12 out of 13, was last early on, had a little bit of a turn of foot at the end, but first off the break, he needed the race, but he still ran quite well from where he started. Before that, in the Colonel Power at Fairgrounds, 5 1/2 furlongs, February the 16th, and the horse won by length. He sat a little bit closer that day, a little bit wide, but he still got there in the nick of time. A very good run, and then a race even closer at the Fairgrounds, 5 1/2 in a lounge race, 40,000. The horse won by a neck. That day he was almost last down the backstretch, but he had a great turn of foot and he got there. A very good run. If he has a clear trip, There's a pace meltdown. I think it's going to suit for him at 12-1, closing on the outside. I'll take him here. Say the speed's going to hold up. I think the 6-horse World of Trouble can get a piece fit. This 4-year-old colt by Cantheros, Jason Service trains. Manny Franco comes in from New York to ride this one. The horse's most recent appearance came on the 6th of April at Aqueduct, 7 furlongs in the Grade 1 Carter handicap, and the horse won by half length. He stalked early on, he got the lead, and then he held on to a very nice, easy victory, deserving a 100 buyer. Wasn't the best of his career, but he got the job done. A very good run on dirt. Before then, the Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint at Gulfstream, off the turf, 5 furlongs on the slop. He won by 2 3/4 lengths and earned himself a 107 buyer that day. Again, on the lead all throughout. It doesn't get any easier than that. Then a Tampa on the slop, 7 furlongs in a stakes race. He won by 13 3/4 against nobodies at 20 cents to the dollar. You know, he got a 109 buyer. He won by a baker's dozen. A very easy race. He has run on the turf, and most recent turf race came on the lawn here at Churchill, 5.5 in the Brews Cup Turf Sprint, where he finished second by a neck behind Stormy Liberal. He was a little bit wide. He set the pace. He got caught right at the wire, but he ran a massive race, I thought. And then his last turf victory came in the Allied Forces at Belmont on a good turf course, 6 from September the 8th, where the horse won by 5 3/4, and he just went away with it on the front end. A very good run. He'll like the wet course. He'll like, because, all of his turf races have come on off goings, so he does like the off going. I wonder what, that makes me wonder if we see a firm ground today, what would happen? Would he take off, win by 26 or something? Because he's handled the off ground, like I said in the past. He should do well. He's a speedy horse. Like I said, if the speed's going to hold on, I think he get a piece of it. The only thing that sucks about him is the even money. Can't make a lot of money on him there. But to recount my selection for the 10th now from Churchill, it's the Grade 2 Twin Spires Turf Sprint. I'll use the 5-horse Chaos Theory as a top selection. I'll go 5, 6, 1, 9 in the superfecta. I'll go 5, 6 in the multis. So now let's get to the featured 11th race from Churchill. The featured 11th race from Churchill, it is the Grade 1 $1.25 million Kentucky Oaks, sponsored by Longines. We have a field of 16 3-year-old fillies here, but keep in mind the 15 and 16 are also eligible, so 14 will go the distance of ground here of 1,800 meters, or the distance of ground of a mile and 1/8 on the main track. 1,800 meters, a mile and 1/8 main track. My top selection here in the Oaks, I'm going to get a little wacky. I'm going to use the 5-horse Fleur de la Mar as a top selection. I'm going to go 5, 4, 10, 7 in the superfecta. 5, 4, 10, 7 super. To the multi-race, the horses I would use would be 5, 4, 10. So I'd go 3 deep to end off the multis here, but the top selection would be the 5-horse Fleur de la Mar, Godolphin Doan. This is this 3-year-old filly by Tisnow, who's best to be remembered by winning the Brews Cup Classic twice, once at Belmont 2001, and of course once in 2000 here at Churchill, very nicely. Bob Baffert trains this one. Joe Rosario gets the mounts. Baffert and Rosario have game winner in tomorrow's Derby also, but this Fleur de la Mar, her most recent outing came the 6th of April, Santa Anita, mile 16th in the Grade 1 Santa Anita Oaks, and she finished second by 5 1/4 lengths behind Bellafina. Bellafina just had an easy run on that day, closing up well, getting the lead, and then taking off clear. But this horse, she was with the pace setters early on, but then she just kind of got overtaken by Bellafina. They ran quite slow there for a mile 16th. I think with a quicker pace from a stalking position from this horse, I think she'll get a piece of it. She'll like the sloppy track, even though she didn't like it 2 starts back at Santa Anita. On the 2nd of March, 6.5 on the slop and an optional 80 claimer. The track was playing towards speed, and this horse is speed from the rail, and this horse is wide, and she just never got into it. She finished 5th by 5 1/4 lengths. She just got a lot of the kickback, and like I said, there was a speed bias track that afternoon that wasn't playing towards her. It wasn't her day to win. And then before that, at Santa Anita, 6.5 in the main special weight for 55,000. She broke the main by 5 lengths. She was dueling a little bit that day, a little bit wide, but she still took off clear. It was a very good race at 20 cents to the dollar for this horse. She's been training well at Santa Anita since the Oaks. Her most recent workout, 5 furlongs, 59.4. The best workout, 46. Usually the workouts the last few weeks at Santa Anita, the track's been playing quite slow, but for this horse to work that quick was quite impressive. And then a 4-furlong workout at Santa Anita, and 48.2, the 5th best workout, 37. So I think she's been training well. She'll definitely get the mile and 8th trip. She's a good post draw, and she'll handle a little bit wet in the, a little bit moisture in the ground. And I think at 21, she's a horse horse I can get a piece of it at a price. So I'll take this one, along with the 4-horse Bellafina. Now she's 2-1, but she does deserve to be 2-1 because she's done everything right. This 3-0 Felipe Quality Road, Simon Callahan trains, Flavia and Pratt gets the leg up. The horse's most recent outing came on the 6th of April, Santino, mile 16th in Grade 1 Santino Oaks, and she won by 5 1/4. She sat back early on. She got the lead. She was drifting a little bit, but she still took off clear. A very good run for this horse. Before then, the Las Virginas at Santino on a good main track, 1 mile on February the 9th. She won by 3/4 length that day, and she sat on the front and all around. She held on to a very nice victory, and then she won the Santa Ynez very nicely off the break. She has started here at Churchill once. That came in the Brews Cup Juvenile Fillies last year, where she just did not get the best of trips from the outside. She finished 4th by 9 1/4 lengths. She didn't break all that well. A lot of traffic, and she just never really excelled. That race does scare me a little bit. But other than that, she's been almost pretty perfect. She lost her first race at Los Al because the horse, because she didn't break all that well, and she just had a little bit too much ground to make up at the end. But she still, other than that, she's run pretty nicely. Like I said, the biggest question is, hopefully that race at Churchill was because of the trip, not because of she didn't like the racetrack and, the wide poster. Hopefully it just was because of the wide poster. Well, hopefully just because she wasn't liking the race course, whatever the fuck I said. But like I said, she's a loaded horse here. If she handles everything, I think she could win. The only thing that sucks is 2-1, but she's a good horse here, and she could sit towards the front. She'll handle the wet course. I'll use her along on the multi-race ticket, along with the 10-horse Champagne Anyone, this 3-0 filly by Street Sense, who best to be remembered by winning the 2007 Kentucky Derby here at Churchill, becoming the first Brews Cup Juvenile Derby winner. This didn't happen for 22 years. Since then, it's happened twice, I believe, or 3 times. Can't remember. I think it's twice, but other than that, this Champagne Anyone, she's coming out of the Gulfstream Park Oaks, formerly known as Monty Miss at Gulfstream Park, mile 16th, March 30th, where she won by half length. She stalked early on, she got the lead, and then she held on to a very nice victory, beating Dunbar Road. But one thing to keep in mind, those mile 16th races at Gulfstream with the short stretch tend to be more towards front-end speed horses. But other than that, she still ran very nice, but that's a little note you want to keep in mind. Before then, the Devona Dale at Gulfstream, 1 mile, March 2nd, she finished third by 4.5 lengths. She had a horrible beginning that day. It was very wide, but she did show a little bit of a turnoff at the end. She ran well, and then the forward Gallets at Gulfstream, 7th on February the 2nd. She finished third by 3/4 length. She rarely had a good turn of foot. She's the kind of horse that if there's going to be a pace meltdown like there was a few years ago in this race, she's going to be a horse that's going to be running well at the end. The last few winners from this race have won from 13 and 14, so a wide post draw with a quick run to the first, with a longer run to the first term, isn't the worst thing in the world. It's not the best, but it's not the worst thing either. But she should, I do like with her closing ability a wide post draw. She has started here at Churchill once. That came in the Golden Rod, where she finished 4th by 4 1/4 lengths. She had a little bit of a trouble trip, but she was moving a little bit at the end. Like I said, another horse, been training well. If there's going to be a pace meltdown, I think she'll be coming at the end. So at 6-1, I'll definitely use her on the exotics. But she's also definitely, on the multi-race. But she's a horse you definitely want to use also in the trifectas and superfectas, because you can definitely get underneath the ticket. But to recap my selections now for the 11th from Churchill, it's the Grade 1 $1.25 million Kentucky Oaks, sponsored by Longines. My top selection, I'm going to go with the 5-horse Flor de la Mar. I'm going to go 5-4-10-7 in the superfecta. I'll go 5-4-10 in the multi-race. So good luck to all, and please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKit5 for more selections for race courses around the world, and remember to check out my Kentucky Derby preview video. Good luck, everybody.